Hey guys, my name is Suede. I hope you're doing well today. So, one thing I am a firm proponent of is the fact that if you're playing up to demigod difficulty, if you have the same amount of land area as the AI, you should be able to keep up with them if you're managing your tech well. Certainly, if you're playing on Emperor, you shouldn't be falling behind if you have this big empire, and that's something I see all the time when I load up your save files. So, that's kind of hard to communicate when I do like full game playthroughs because like the little economic tips are very diluted through the big chunk of the video. So we're just going to do a very deep dive today. We're going to go through 7 save files. I'm going to fix the mistakes in your mid-game economies, and I'll maybe give you like a ranking out of 10 for each of these videos. So here's the first one. First thing I noticed this is something I see a lot, is that you switch into Republic, you simultaneously have where's the army? There's no units here. There's not like a big stack anywhere. There's like, I guess this is not too bad. You often see this, that they'll have no army, but simultaneously being like not crippled by unit support, but they're paying a lot here. It's not like they've disbanded their warriors. They followed my tips. But the issue is they don't have high population cities. So in a city like Leptis Magna, this is captain growth. You should do an aqueduct, like pronto. This is an immediate priority. In fact, if you have the gold, oh, that's expensive. Maybe don't just buy that. But all of these other cities, the top priority should be getting them to size 7. This is why you also want to plant on freshwater if you can. If you have extra workers, you can just join them to the cities. One thing that I like that they did here is that they're actually done all their core worker moves in most of their cities. If they have extra workers, they can join them. If you just joined like 3 workers and made like a couple 7-pop cities, that would save you like 20 gold per turn. Speaking of saving 20 gold per turn, just buy the harbor here, right? This is unconnected silks. This is 1 luxury. You can also trade for more luxuries. So, even without that, like you can just decrease the happiness slider. This is another thing I see a lot, that they'll just be running higher luxury sliders than they need to be. Always be checking this. Like, it's okay if you get like a disorder once or twice if you mess up. But just see if you can run the lower slider. It might not be the case that you can, and maybe it was a waste of time. But just check, because it saves you a lot of money if it does work out that way. Yeah, in this case with Hippo, you would have to use a scientist. But think of this as like a specialist that gives you 24 gold per turn, because that is like the economic difference between these 2 slider states. And if you turn down the slider, then you save a bunch of money, and then the only city that has to be adjusted is this one right here, Hippo. Okay, one other thing that we can do is we can get some luxuries. So this is why I like these spare resources a lot, like the horses. You just get free lux. So we'll just take that, and I believe Samaria also has something. So maybe we'll need to give them attack. It's fine if we do. We'll give them spices. That's okay, and we can pay them a little bit of money. I wouldn't want to pay him that. I would if that's what he wanted. I'd pay him that much. So just remember that generally they will want, if you have more cities, they will charge you more for asking for resources or luxuries. So if they're ripping you off a little, that's totally fine. It's just because you have a lot of cities. You should be proud of yourself, actually. So we have that done now, and now we can run the slider at, I believe, at 0%. Yeah. There you are, and we can get rid of this guy right here. 6 luxuries, beautiful. So yeah, raise your city pops for unit support. Also, just like with the commerce bonus, you benefit so much in Republic. There's low corruption. This guy's currently in a golden age, and you do get the commerce bonus per tile. So just having a lot of population is very beneficial. All of the benefits to despotism do not depend on your population. Like military support doesn't really depend on your population. It's 4 no matter what the population of the city is. And then military police also doesn't depend on population. But as soon as you enter Republic, all of the benefits associated with the government require you to have high population. So make that a priority. So for example, here, you're not in despotism anymore. There's no despotism penalty. You can just irrigate this, like irrigate this, irrigate this, irrigate that. You would like double the growth in this city potentially if you irrigate a few of these tiles. And then oh, he's not in a golden age. He's not even in golden age. That's just Republic commerce bonus, and then he's got really good land in the cap at least. So yeah, if he irrigated all of this, he could double the growth rate, and then like getting to size 12 to be getting all that commerce is really, really important here. Okay, so my final grade for the save file will be we'll say a 7 out of 10. It's a bit slow in terms of the growth of these cities, but once they eventually do grow, he is kind of working on the aqueducts. Once he gets there, he will mature into a very healthy economy here. So I like it quite a bit. Next will be our save file 2. Notice this is 500 AD. He's done all the core worker jobs. This is 960 AD. He's still like, even in his capital, he's missing core worker jobs. Here, Bombay, massive city, does not all have all the worker jobs done. Just a ton of jungle, a ton of like mountains and hills, and just random tiles that have not been worked. So this is the first problem with this save. You need to have all your core worker jobs done. Now in this save, what happened was the guy, he was doing great. Like he conquered somebody. He's massive. He's ahead of all the other AI in score and in land area. Yeah, ahead of everyone in land area, even after losing a couple cities there. Let's see the difficulty. This was Emperor, so he should be able to smash in terms of economy. And he's in his golden age. He saved his golden age for this late. But what happened was he mismanaged his economy, so he started playing kind of sloppy, and as a result, he just lost a few cities and he gave up the game. This game was in a winning position. He was crushing this game. He just needs to get his economy under control. So one thing, I think I taught this player that you do not need all these techs. If there's like a little circle here, it is not necessary for era advancement. And this is especially important in the medieval era because steam power is the best tech in the game. Just get all the mandatory techs, get steam power, have all your worker moves done before then so you can start railing at top speed, and then you will be having a much better time in your games. So worker moves, tech priority, those are two big things here. He did a bit better. He's got some high pop cities. So he has 33 allowed units. This could honestly, no, that could be higher. So by 960 AD, all of your core cities should be able to be size 7. Like there's no excuse. Just start chopping and irrigate this so that, yeah, you even have the aqueduct. You just need the worker moves invested so that you have the food to get the city to size 7, and that will give you the unit support. But he's actually under the unit cap. So you'll see this in my games sometimes that I run pretty lean in terms of unit when I first enter Republic if I think I need it to keep up in tech, if I need the low unit support costs. But when you first switch into Republic, there's no shame in paying 30, 40 gold per turn in unit costs. As long as you're not fighting some massive war and until you have issues with like war wariness, it is okay, right? Like you're paying more gold in unit support, but you get a bunch of that gold back in lower corruption and in the commerce bonus from being in Republic. So that's okay. Don't feel pressured to be under the unit cap if it's not safe to do so, especially if you're winning the game anyway. Often I'll play kind of sloppy if I'm if I need to like get an advantage, but here he already has an advantage. He does not need to play this sloppy. So yeah, and if you're gonna run a lean on units, don't make them catapults. Make them like war elephants are perfect because they're beefy, they're good at attacking, they're mobile, so they can defend a lot of different tiles at once, and they have the extra HP on defense too. So 3 defense that you can move wherever you need it to be. That's pretty damn good. So yeah, if you just had like, I don't know, 15 more war elephants, it wouldn't have cost him much gold per turn, but he wouldn't have been able to be attacked like that. If you really want to have 0 units in these southern cities, then you have to build more workers and then line off the coasts. Like build outpost, 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 so he can't land you. But regardless, I think I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. He would be doing okay if he hadn't had this massive issue with just losing his cities. Okay, one last note on this save file. This guy is getting crippled by war weariness a little, so I'll give him a bit of a pass. But 30% slider in the golden age, this is not acceptable, especially when you just have free dyes. These aren't being exported, the ivories and the dyes. You can just give them to the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Iroquois, and get 3 free sources of luxuries. So yeah, I'm gonna have to downgrade this save to a 4 out of 10. Let's see number 3 though. Let's see. So this is probably the most important thing when I open up the save is like, how high is the luxury slider? Should it be higher? Should it be lower? And in this case, it's actually not that it should be higher. This one, or lower, it should be higher in this case. So what my rule would be for Republic is that your 7 core cities, like your capital and your 6 closest cities to your capital, they should not be using any entertainers. You should set your luxury slider such that those cities do not need any entertainers. If you got like a 12 pop city that's halfway across the map, well, you might need some entertainers there because it's super corrupt and it doesn't really benefit so much from the luxury slider. But the cities around your capital are very low corruption, so the gold is pretty much translated directly into the happiness slider. So if you got cities like this, where is this? Oh yeah, cities like that. Oh no, that's okay. That's really far away. Where is core cities actually? Yeah, stuff like this. The city's just not growing as fast as it could be. Yeah, you shouldn't be having your governor manage this stuff. Okay, so this is a case where you actually do want the happiness slider to be higher, even 30, 40%. And that's because it's an archipelago map. He has one luxury, and he does actually have river and a decent sources of commerce. So it's not the worst in the world for having low commerce. But yeah, often in archipelago maps, if you spawn alone with no luxuries, there's just not really many sources of happiness. Unless you get like Sistine Chapel or something like that. That's one of the cases where I actually think Sistine Chapel is a decent deal. But yeah, you will just naturally have to use the luxury slider a little bit higher, and that's okay because otherwise your cities just don't grow. So Luanda, yeah, again, the city, like it can grow to size 12 pretty easily if it has the happiness to do so. And as the city grows bigger, it will generate more commerce, and more commerce will be filtered through the happiness slider into happiness. But you need to let the city grow for that to happen. So again, all of these cities. Yeah. So it costs us gold to raise the happiness slider, but each of those citizens that I just assigned to those tiles generates gold for our empire. Like this is 3 extra gold that goes into happiness, science, and our treasury. And that is actually benefited by these multipliers here, the marketplace and the library. So it's really important to grow your cities. In your core cities, you should not be using entertainers. Yeah, like this one's a little bit more, it's not even that corrupt. This is like, what? Maybe 20, 30% corrupt? Yeah, we can definitely make this work. Sometimes it involves moving tiles around. Yeah, like Braga's a little bit better for happiness. So you see what I'm doing here? That if you give the high commerce tiles to the cities that need more happiness, it didn't actually work out in this case. But remember that commerce is filtered through the happiness slider into happiness. So sometimes it'll make the difference. Yeah, in this case, I don't think I would do, if you're as the rest of your cities get bigger, I actually might do 40% even. But the hack for archipelago maps, like especially 80% water maps like this one, is that if you really need happiness, just bait someone into declaring war on you. If they declare war on you, you get war happiness, and it's an 80% water archipelago map. What the hell are they going to do? They're not going to boat you, and AI really sucks at boat attacks. If you have tiny little islands, one like this, you can do what he's doing in this save. I like this quite a bit, where he is building an outpost. Again, you cannot land a unit on top of the outpost, so that city is completely safe. In fact, you could just disband this. I don't think he's having much issues with unit support. Oh, he is. He actually, what the hell? Oh my God, there's so many different problems in these saves. Yeah. So again, you could just disband all these units if you have all of this stuff outposted. And again, you can bait enemies into declaring war on you. If they declare war on you, you get war happiness. You can get, it stacks. So you can do this a few different times, and that can turbocharge your economy, weirdly enough. That is the factor that allows you to have the happiness you need to tech at full speed. So yeah, here, it's a bit of a time investment, but I would just outpost the whole island here. You don't have to do that necessarily if that's not your style, if you think that's cheesy, but at least the small islands like this should be fully outposted. You have nothing to do better than to do in these cities. He's working on it. It's just not as fast as he could be prioritizing it. While you're getting it online, like you can put the warriors on the tiles to stop them from landing, and then you can maybe disband one of the other warriors inside the city. But yeah, so make sure you're using the happiness slider and stop paying so much in unit support. God, especially because like if you're not letting the cities grow because of the entertainers, then they don't grow big enough. Here, there it is. Look, unhappy, happy. Use the high commerce tiles to get happy when you're at the margin and you need that little bit. But yeah, so do not be paying such massive gold, like especially outdated units. Like if you have nothing better to do, you can, like, you don't really need happiness here. Just build a barracks and just one city, just be building vet knights or something like that. And those can rotate around to defend the cities if absolutely needed. Okay, yeah, so I'd probably give this one probably better than that second save file. I guess this one's the real 5 out of 10. Crushing unit support. You know what? He's doing the outpost. We'll give him 5.5. 5.5 out of 10. Okay, let's see the next save. Okay, another Emperor game file. I like this one quite a bit. Again, I liked from the last one, he had all the core worker moves done. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll give that Portugal guy a 6 because he had the worker moves done at least. How is this guy? Yeah, he's importing ivory. That's a good start. From the Byzantines. Let's see if he can get this this incense. Okay, pro tip here. You're metallurgy in 5. Who gives a shit? Like, who gives a shit if the Byzantines have currency? Now, you could give the Byzantines currency and some gold for this luxury. I'd even one-up you. What I would do is I would just give them currency for free and then do monotheism for incense. Done. They're halfway across the map. They're like half an era behind you. It's okay. You can let some of these techs go. It's not the end of the world. We saw this in the first save a bit, that they weren't really defending the key cities that they had in colonies. Like, it's okay if it's just like a crap city, like Ainshed, whatever. But a city like this... wait, what? Why did he plant these? This is peculiar. Anyway, in the first save, he had like saltpeter cities, horse cities. Remember, we were trading the horses away in exchange for luxuries. So that second source of horse is actually important. And the Silic cities in the first save, they weren't really well defended. So if you have spare production, yeah, this is the real offender, that he just has spare production. Look how shitty wealth is. So wealth is giving minus 22. If you switch off wealth, minus 25. It's not that much gold. You're much better just building units. And he's in a golden age too. That is a lot of production. You can just wipe the enemy off the map. Pretty sure he's at war with Germany. Just build military units. And if you don't want to be building military units to attack, well, at least build them to defend. You can replace these warriors and not incur any unit support costs. Let's see how the unit support situation is here. Oh, I love that. Okay, this one's a good save file so far. Core worker moves are done. Yeah, just I guess we've got the incense now, but just like randoms, yeah, you could even get away with 10% here. Amsterdam, yeah, you probably shouldn't be using, like I said, no core units. Is there a better way to do this? He really needs a third or fourth source of luxuries. The more you have, the more they start stacking. Is there like one we can road somewhere? Yeah, we'll do 20, because I think there's a few cities like this. Yeah, like, this one's not so bad, because the city has just pretty much stopped growing. Oh, no, that makes the difference in terms of our production. It's knight per 2 versus knight per 1. Yeah, in this case, I 100% would do 20%. But you can get away with 20%. Okay, you can tech at a deficit. That's okay. So yeah, like one luxury he could get. He's building wealth in some cities. I just hit the end turn button. But generally, I think this one's pretty good. Was there anything... The city placement's a little loose, but yeah, like, he's wasting random tiles like this. It's not the end of the world, though. He's got size 7 cities. I like the size 7 cities. Yeah, he needs the border expand here to actually not suck at growth, so I don't blame him for doing library before aqueduct there. Yeah, just don't do wealth, and at this point I would just conquer. But it seems like he's doing well in tech. I would give the save an 8 out of 10. Okay, this is a Monarch save, but I wanted to include this one as well, too. This one's a little later on. It's 920 AD. They are in the Industrial Era. But you still have these size 6 cities randomly. What is this? Like, that's a really low unit cap. Like, he's not over the unit cap. I appreciate that he's not over the unit cap, as I appreciated in the last save. But you can expand the unit cap, right? He's got almost no units. Like if he just gets attacked here for whatever reason, he's fucked. So I count that as an error. Like the India player got caught with their pants down. Like they got called out on their BS. This player's they're doing okay, but they're not getting called out on their BS. They are BSing right now. So city like this, it's not growing. It actually has the aqueduct. In this case, it's the worker moves. So these tiles, all of these tiles to the west should be irrigated. Even the grasslands, kind of. Definitely any bonus grasslands out here. Because there's a lot of hills, there's a lot of forest, and there's a lot of plains. So you want those cities to have more population, because if you're using these tiles, it actually reduces the food that's available. Because a citizen costs 2 food per turn just to exist. It just, that's how much they eat. So if you're getting 1 off a hill tile, then you're actually losing food on that citizen. So you need irrigated tiles to compensate for that. So again, a lot of these cities have aqueducts. The city, at least, is building an aqueduct soon. He could, just use your food. Okay, this is a pro tip for you guys. It's okay if your cities aren't growing. There are a lot of reasons that your cities might not be able to grow. Maybe you don't have the tech for aqueducts yet. Maybe it's an expensive building and you have other things to build. Maybe the city just naturally doesn't have a lot of food. Maybe you haven't gotten around to investing the worker moves into it yet, and so it's not growing because of that. Maybe you're having happiness problems. There are a lot of reasons you can get capped in growth, but at least know why you're being capped in growth. If you see a city like this, like Leopardum was, take a look at the city, and it's like, sorry, it was more like this, I believe. If you see this here, or if the growth is really, really slow, ask yourself, why is the city not growing? Again, it's okay if you can't make it grow. That's okay. Just be aware of why it's not growing. Because growth is like the primary driver of your yields. That is commerce and shields, and commerce and shields is what wins games. So pay attention when your cities aren't growing or when they're growing slowly, and check, like usually there's something you can do to fix it. So here it's just as simple as clicking on the city center to rearrange the tiles. That'll make it grow. In Ajinkam, you would need to irrigate these 2 tiles. Literally just a couple worker moves, the city will grow, and then you get an expanded unit cap. Here, you need to finish the aqueduct. That's fine, at least he's building the aqueduct. But I would probably prioritize the aqueduct over the marketplace. If you have the happiness to get to size 7 without the marketplace, do the aqueduct first. Of course, do not do aqueducts if you're like size 2. I see that a lot too, that people do the aqueducts. Like if you have time to build an entire other building first and then finish the aqueduct before you get to size 7, do that other thing first. Because otherwise the aqueduct just sits around accumulating maintenance. Again, here, just literally go and click on the city center, and it helps a bit, but you would probably need to irrigate, especially when you're an agricultural civ. Remember, agricultural civs get +2 food for irrigating deserts instead of +1, so the mine gives 1 production. It's a trade-off of 1 production versus 2 food, which is really good in favor of the irrigation, because normally it's a 1-to-1 trade between irrigation and food. So there's a bunch of cities here that are not growing. Because of that, the unit cap is very small, and because of that, they have no army and they're just at risk of dying. That is the primary problem with the save. I'd say their economy is generally healthy because their core cities are high pop, but they have a bunch of cities that could be higher pop but aren't, and be giving more unit support. Plenty of workers doing some interesting things, I guess. Just naturally 4 Lux, and they can't trade for anything. Maybe they had the opportunity earlier. Actually, they have a decent amount of... This is probably the correct way to be running the sliders, but just routinely check on this. So the flip side is, if your happiness slider is at the right place, make sure you're not using entertainers that you don't need to be using. Yeah, you can just assign these to the tiles and get more yields at no cost. So do that. So yeah, overall, I'll give this one I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's a bit better than the India save, maybe. It's about the same year, and they have more worked tiles at least, but they have that same problem with units and with not growing some of their cities. Okay, this next save file is on deity difficulty, and this one lives in my head rent-free, because the guy who sent me the save file, he said to me, "Oh, Swade, you're really going to chew me out for this one, because I didn't like the unit support I was paying, so I disbanded, I got rid of most of my workers." And then I go to the military advisor, and it's like, okay, he's got 9 workers, fine, 5 galleons, 4 privateers, 36 man of wars. What are you doing? Okay. Okay, just wall off the islands, outpost, 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 everywhere. You do not need 36 mana wars. That is too many mana wars, man. You don't need any military units at all here, actually. What I would just do is India's your only person here who's like not in the medieval era, who actually is a rival to you. So just put everything here on this tile, wall off this, and then declare war on him and then just have him fight this infinite war where he switches into fascism. That would be my suggestion for improving your economy. You'd make your only significant rival's economy worse. Now, I'll say he's doing actually absolutely fantastic here. In the grand scheme of how good his economy is, especially with the England bonuses, he's doing fantastic. Receiving 671, giving out 832, I love both of those numbers. High numbers for both is good because it means you are actively trading. He is also importing literally every luxury he can. No extra luxuries available. This is wonderful. And look how low his happiness slider is. 0%. Right? This is the goal. This is what you're working towards. So yeah, he should be railing too. Like he has the tech for rails. This is the biggest power spike in the game. So I can't give him a perfect mark. City placement is good. All of his core, at least all of his core worker jobs are done, although he needs the outposts. I'd probably give him about an 8 out of 10 for this. Well done, man. Okay, and our very last save file on the list, let's take a look at this one. So first we will check out the military police. So notice how he is over the unit cap. That's okay because he's preparing an attack. He's got a lot of workers. That's good. Finish your worker moves early. And he actually has veteran knights, not just like a skitter-scatter random bunch of random units. Like random spearmen, warriors, and stuff, a couple warriors. But it's mostly knights. This is enough. This is how you attack on Republic. You're mostly empty at home. You play really lean, and you can use like 1 or 2 knights just scattered around your empire to defend yourself while you have a big stack going on the offensive. This is the way to do attacks. Most of the core worker jobs are done. For advanced play, I would like to see you be irrigating the tiles around the hill cities, because this city is not going to have enough food to use all these hills, because hills use 1 food, or give 1 food, and citizens eat 2 food. So if you're using hills, then you will eventually run out of food. Right? Like if you switch over like this, city stops growing. But yeah, so the happiness slider is as low as he can possibly get away with it. This is lovely, right? 6 and 6 here. I don't mind these occasional temples if it's like right at the borderline, right? If you're just trading 1 gold for 1 happiness, that's not very good. But if you're using it to like stop yourself from using an entertainer, like if it's the 1 or 2 places in your empire that needs it, it actually works pretty well. So yeah, so he doesn't have higher happiness than he needs, but he doesn't have less than he needs, right? If he was doing this and he had a bunch of entertainers in these cities, that would be garbage. But he didn't do that. So yeah, relatively low unit support. I don't mind this so much. All of his worker move, the tile improvements are done. He's doing a fantastic job here. I would give this one a 10 out of 10. So I will, if you need a reminder, I will put the criteria I use, the important points for mid-game economy up on the screen right now. I hope you guys learned something. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.